Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this Leather Naturally webinar. My name is Federico Roth. I am the Senior Director for Global Business at Yongyi Leather, but today I'm talking to you on behalf of Leather Naturally, where I am also a member of the management board of this group. Allow me to start by thanking APLF for giving us the opportunity to share this webinar with you. During the next half an hour, we'll be talking about sustainability and how sustainability is affecting the leather business in general as we see it. So this will take approximately half an hour and hope you enjoy it. The topics I intend to touch on today is a very brief introduction on Leather Naturally, who we are and what we do, some of the benefits that we see about using leather, how the sustainability could improve your business as a tanner, and how you can get to this next generation in terms of sustainability. And then last but not least, how do we see the future in terms of the consumer and the brands and where they are be demanding for the tanneries in terms of sustainability. So here we go. First of all, talking about Leather Naturally. For those who are not familiar with Leather Naturally is a non-for-profit industry member association that focuses on the education and promotion of globally manufactured sustainable leather. We seek to inspire and inform designers, creators, and consumers about the beauty, quality, and versatility of this modern material. We got like two sections within Leather Naturally. One is the education and one is the inspiration. The education, you will see it through our new website, which is a great resource for balanced information about leather. You will see our presence in social media and newsletter, industry fairs, conference, and presentations. While the inspiration part is done through metcha.com, which is the oracle of leather design culture, and which I will be introducing to you in a few moments. Our website, which I encourage you to visit, is www.leathernaturally.org. Start by the benefits of using leather. How do we see the benefits of using leather? Leather is probably the oldest example of recycling, and it's the perfect material in a world that wants to consume less, reuse more, and recycle everything. So something which is very much in fashion these days or in latest times, but leather has been associated with these demands and these features and these conditions for many, many years. You heard me before saying that we think that leather is a modern material. And why we think it's a modern material? Well, basically because it matches all the requirements that today a modern material requires. First of all, it utilizes waste from a renewable source, with like the food industry. So the leather takes a byproduct, a waste, and transforming it into something beautiful. It lasts for a long time, so it's not something that you buy and you throw away immediately. Leather well done lasts long. It can be repaired, and eventually, in the worst of cases, at the end of life, it can be recycled. It's versatile, and it's responsibly made by leather manufacturers. Take this number in consideration. Every year, there are 7.3 million tons of hides as a waste. They're generated as a waste of the meat industry. That is a lot of hides. And so we have the responsibility to do something with this. And what could be better than transform this into a versatile material, which is leather? In fact, if leather would not exist, it would have to be invented, or something would have to be invented to take care of this such big amount of waste coming from the food industry. In this very short picture that you see on the right, you see the different uses that you can have for hides. There are more than that, but you can make shoes, you can make boots, furniture, handbags, jacket, gloves, car seats, many different things can be done with hides and turn into leather. And the alternative to that would be that little truck that you see there, digging those hides into landfills, which would be terrible and extremely sad. I said before that leather well made lasts, and that is true. You will see that you have your jacket, your shoes, you can have that for many, many years. And in fact, it doesn't take long to maintain them, and they even look nicer. They age very well. So in that sense, leather is a very durable material, which in these days, for something to be durable, is also helping for environmental point of view. The leather can be repaired. In fact, you can polish it, you can stitch it. So leather can be repaired, it can be restored, it can be reused, eventually can be used into different things, and always maintains the beauty of its individuality. Bear in mind that leather is made with hides, and each hide is individual. There are not two hides the same. So that individuality transmits into the leather and the leather articles that you have. When I say that it can be recycled, the leather can be repurposed if you want. Shavings or trims during the leather process can be made into leather boards, and those leather boards can be used for making many things. They can make walls, in the floors, even places for you to sit. There are many, many applications for those leather boards. Cut-offs from manufacturing can be used towards zero waste. I mean, doing key rings or different things smaller. So again, you can cut it and use it. And if nothing can be done with that, ultimately the leather is biodegradable. So at different steps, there's always a use for leather and helping towards the environment. Here I put just a few pictures of examples. When I said leather is versatile, versatile means that it can be used into many, many different things. Examples: leather cars, leather seats for cars, sitting places, jackets, shoes, boots, boards, gloves. There is a countless number of things that you can make with leather. And if you go back in history, in humanity, they were used to making tents, they were used, of course, to make shoes, to make anything for you to cover from the cold weather. So it's been with us for a long, long time. It has been used in a countless number of purposes. Something very important with leather is that it's breathable. So that means that you wear a pair of shoes or a pair of gloves made out of leather, and the moisture can go in and out, maintaining that desirable temperature. Also with the use, the leather will conform to the person who wears it, making it very, very comfortable. The leather is beautiful. I'm not saying this because it's biased, but I really believe that the leather is beautiful. Every hide or skin is unique, and the skills of the leather make it enhance its qualities. And like I said before, the leather does get better with age. Leather is one of those materials where functionality and beauty are not mutually exclusive. We have something which is very nice and beautiful and has functionality as well. Like I said before, sorry, before we go into that, I want to say that if the leather would not exist, we would have to create it. Otherwise, it would be a tremendous problem from an environmental point of view, all the ways how to deal with all those hides that are being produced every year. So in short, it is a modern material, and the message that we want to transmit is use less, use better, use leather. I said before, we do the part of education on Leather Naturally and the leathernaturally.org. We do the part of inspiration. The part of inspiration is done through metcha. Metcha is a very interesting and successful marketing campaign. I don't know if you are familiar with it. Otherwise, I invite you to visit it either on Instagram or on our website. But I think instead of me explaining to you, if you give me 90 seconds, I can run a very short video explaining you what metcha is and how it works. So that is metcha. It is very catchy. It is very modern, and it has been very successful on its first year. And this is the second year of the campaign. So I encourage you to visit us and to follow us because it's very, very interesting. Going on the second topic of the presentation today, which is improving business through sustainability. What I want to say here is that consumers are increasingly wanting to know the origin of the products that they buy. So the operational transparency and environmental impact are a very, very important part of the purchasing decision these days. Sustainability as a comprehensive concept is not longer optional for those who want to work with international brands or a conscious consumer. And in fact, sustainability is perceived in different ways. So you can have topics related to manufacturing, of course, like chemical management, water and energy consumption, but also others related to animal welfare, like the high traceability, labor standards, or engaging with the local community. So environment and sustainability is seen in a wide way, and it has to be tackled through different approaches. What was seen as a way to differentiate the environmentally responsible channels from those who had not has now become a minimal expectation. So the sustainability bar has been raised, creating the possibility for leather manufacturers to present their credentials on these fields. One of the things that the top channels are starting to do quite in the recent times is starting to do LCA, life cycle assessments, which are being used by leading channels to communicate to the outside world their environmental standards and evolution through time. And this has been, I have to say, very well accepted as a tool by brands and customers. Consumers and brands are extremely demanding when it comes to material sustainability. For tanneries to be part of this best-in-class group, like I said here, they need to be competitive in a number of aspects. So the classic ones, I would say, the ones we all know, like we've been asked for a long time: on-time delivery, exciting seasonal ranges, worldwide service, price competitiveness, access to different types of raw materials depending on what you're doing. Those, in time, those have become given. Everybody expects, if you are a top tannery, to have those. But now they start to look into other things. So for you to be at that top level, you need to excel in other areas. Traceability, you need to show where your hides come from, not only where they come from, which slaughter was done, and that slaughterhouse is not buying from farms which could be getting from deforestation areas, for example. Chemical management, you're familiar with CDHC, energy efficiency, water and waste management, engagement with community, labor standards, digitalization. Digitalization is an interesting one because through time, this thing about sending the physical catalogs and sending the samples around the world has been going less and less. Today, everybody expects you to digitalize your correction and to send things around in very, very high definition, if possible with a high definition movie. So digitalization is also another thing that came associated in a way to sustainability. Tanneries needs to be accountable. And to be accountable, you need to be willing to somebody to audit you and to support those claims that you're making. So the leather industry understands this, and responsible manufacturing committed to audit standards and working with initiatives such as CDHC, like I said before. Third-party certifications are critical to support these claims for accountable and sustainable manufacturing. So there are different certifications around the world regarding the leather industry, which are recognized by the rigorousness and professionalism. So I just mentioned a few here, like Leather Working Group, and they have the system of medal rating, gold, silver, and bronze, which is probably the most popular. The Roadmap to Zero, this is the CDHC. ICEC, this is the Italian system for conscious manufacturing, and then the SCCCB, this is the Brazilian standards for environmental. So this is just a few examples of the audits which are recognized around the world, and that any brand or any conscious customers buying from you will require you to go through. And then they have, of course, all of the ones which are of the same brand. Sometimes the brands would require this, but on top of that, they would have their own program and their own targets when it comes to anything, to energy consumption, to water, to labor. So you have this one from third parties, and then you got audits from the brands and the customers itself. Very short on how we see a little bit the consumer of the future, and the future in a way is already here, because fundamental shifts that were already occurring in consumer markets accelerated with the pandemic. Significant changes are already taking place, and those affects the way in which we shop, the brand relevance, the supply chain transparency, and food. So there is a global consensus that one of the main challenges that the Western world is facing, at least, is this overconsumption. And there is an ethical dilemma whether to consume or not to consume. And these and other things will have an impact on leather, either directly or indirectly, but there will be an impact associated with these trends. There is a shift in culture, a move towards a more transparent, sustainable, and meaningful business model, where people consider their decisions, consider how their decisions will impact in our world. People call now for companies to demonstrate that they really care and demand for these attributes in everything from government policies to products and services. Brands relevance plays a key role here, because the socially conscious consumer will continue to grow and seek brands that they trust and that are aligned with their own values. They will continue, I mean, the consumer will continue to seek purpose-driven brands that are responsible to an array of environmental, social, and governance concerns. So brands will have to find a way to articulate meaningful value propositions to win these customers. And as they do, these demands will cascade, or are cascading already, towards the material suppliers, of course the T1s and the T2s, like in our case. Another factor which is important is what I mentioned here as leather apprehension or leather pushback or different things. There is a kind of attitude in general in the media against leather for different reasons and from different people interested in this, I would say. The message that the general media reflects is negative towards leather. And this is just to mention a few. Chrome is bad. Billions of animals are killed to make leather. Vegan leather is more sustainable. Leather manufacturers are not regulated, etc., etc. And when you think that the consumer cares about this transparency and about some of the things which are misleadingly informed here, that has an impact on our business. So this is also something which is happening, and different organizations and different tanneries within the industry are fighting and delivering a more fact-based and neutral, objective message, if you want. So in the case of leather, naturally, what we do is that we have fact sheets. So the fact sheets that we have, and they are freely available for anybody who wants to download them from our website, tackles on different subjects, mainly on benefits of using leather, environmental aspects, guides in general, and manufacturing. Then we have a leather library as well. But some of the things in these fact sheets are answers to this particular question. So what I want to show you is just 3 or 4 of the fact sheets with a very high level for you to understand what I'm talking about. Should you be interested in one of these in particular, like I said, from our website, you can download them all, and there's very interesting information there. So for example, the ones in blue fall under the category of benefits of leather. One thing which is interesting is that the fact sheets are written in many different languages. So you got it, of course, in English, in Dutch, German, in Portuguese, Spanish, and Italian. So any language, or many languages are there. So the benefits of leather, when you open that fact sheet, you will see why leather lasts long, how can it be repaired, the many different ways it can be used, that it's comfortable, that it's beautiful. Some of the things which I mentioned before were taken from this fact sheet. The yellow fact sheets talk about environment. And this is very interesting because it touches on a wide range of topics, from environmental compliance, for use of water, chemicals in general, chrome 6 in particular, carbon footprint, how is that measured, restrictive substances, manufacturing restrictive substances, social and labor, etc., etc. So it's a very, very comprehensive and interesting piece of information here. These are the yellow ones. The orange ones, the orange fact sheets, talk about labeling. And this, we thought this was important for you to understand, or for the people in general to understand, what defines real leather. Because real leather needs to be made from hides. So in that sense, things like vegan leather, synthetic leather, or different types of leathers, they are not, it's not legally right to call them like this. For you to call something leather, it needs to come from hides. So again, if you go into this fact sheet, it would explain the different labels and what is right and what is wrong to use. The purple, well, it's not purple, burgundy, I would say, it's about manufacturing. And in the case of manufacturing, it's an approach for those who are not familiar with the leather making and tanning. So it starts from the very, very beginning, saying leather is a byproduct from the food industry. Most of the hides are coming from cattle, but you also have from sheep, goat, and pig. Where is leather made? Internationally, in many countries. Where are people employed from different countries, in which areas? How does the supply chain flow? Because it's a very extensive, if you want, supply chain, because you start with hides which are mostly, not all, but mostly in the Americas, North America and South America, some of them also, of course, in Europe and Australia. And then the tanneries are located, you got tanning tanneries which are located in one place. Then you got finishing tanneries which are located mostly in Asia, close to where the consumption is. There you ship that to the goods manufactured in general in Asia, and then those goods are shipped back to the countries, in some cases where the hides came from. So it's a very interesting circle, and it's explained here in this fact sheet as well. So again, my message there is there are answers to those questions for those negative messages that are available against leather, and some of the answers can be taken from our fact sheets. And if I remember correctly, yes, I do. That was my last slide. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you find it interesting. Due to the time difference, it was impossible for me to do this webinar live. So it is a recording. So should you have any question for me or for Leather Naturally, we'll be more than happy to answer those any questions that you may have. Send me an email or send it through APLF, and we will come back to you as soon as we can. In the meantime, I thank you very, very much for taking the time, for allowing me to deliver this message to you. And I look forward to seeing you either in person or in this way in the very near future.